actually is being investigated. It's not right for me.
Well, it's been investigated by the Labour Party.
Yeah, it's not right for me actually to comment on that in view of that.
Until the inquiry is complete. Okay,
complete.
I think that's a reasonable response there. Obviously, Imdad Hussein's got a right to defend himself against those allegations. He's been suspended, and there's an internal, I think, Yorkshire and Humberside executive inquiry going on. So Imdad Hussein, I'm sure, we'll come back to this when that result is done.
I won't go directly into the investigation because of, for the reasons
the Labour Party,
well, for the reasons that have already been said. But what I will make the comment of is that I've seen a file that was sent to me by a constituent who actually lived in Heaton. It wasn't the gentleman that was on the line, who sent me the copy of a file of evidence that he had sent up to the Labour leader Ed Miliband nearly a year ago, and absolutely nothing happened regarding Imdad Hussein. It's telling again that with George Galloway's intervention, in less than 2 days after writing to Ed Miliband himself as an MP, that suddenly the person concerned is suspended. So I think it shows again what it is capable of being achieved by a sole MP.
I just want to come back. I think it's utter nonsense again, actually. Let me make it clear. The law quite clearly states that he's not debarred from standing as a candidate and standing as a councillor. This is internal Labour Party
so why have you
policies.
Him?
That's I'm saying internal Labour Party because we have a very tight control. We want to be seen to be cleaner than clean, actually, and this is precisely why we're doing it. So let's not talk about something as Shafiq said quite rightly. Give the person chance to defend itself, and rather than if somebody.
I'll just make a more general point.
Okay, let's just go. Councillor Hussein was given an order disqualifying him as a company director for 7 years from March the 3rd, 2011.
Yeah. But legally, he was not barred from.
Okay, so he's not barred. Yeah. I'm assuming you're telling the truth.
The question isn't whether he's legally allowed to be a councillor or not. It's just that the perception in Bradford is that this is the type of individual that the Labour Party are happy to put forward as someone that will represent them as a councillor. And it's not an isolated incident. There have been different allegations about other Labour councillors as well, about sort of sending libelous texts, for example, during the by-election campaign, of which there's a lawsuit currently pending, and various others.
As much as I would not want to get into some of those lawsuits, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, there's a question here for Khadim. Do you agree with Lord Nazir's alleged comments that he made in Pakistan?
Well, I'm not part of those comments, and I don't think I know Lord Nazir. And again, that inquiry is being held in that respect.
Do you think it's right that the Labour Party treats such a man with such stature within our community in this sort of way? That they suspended him without even giving him the right to put his side?
Well, no, I think they will give him this. That's precisely.
They suspended him.
If the allegation is made, the first protocol is actually that you got to take the action. But the suspension does not mean he's been disqualified or he's been expelled. It's a suspension to give him the chance. And I think what I'm saying is...
And when George Galloway says that the Labour Party have treated Lord Ahmed despicably, and this is another example of ethnic minorities in the Asian Muslim votes being treated and deceived by the Labour Party. What would you say about that?
Well, George Galloway will say that, actually, because it's an interest, I think. But if injustice is being done in either way, Shafiq, we need to stand up for that. And if we feel that the Labour Party has actually acted unjustifiably against Lord Nazir, we will be the ones within the party fight for that. There's no problem with that.
Okay.
I think it's terrible. I mean, what he actually said was, to my knowledge, that Blair should be tried as a war criminal, which is something that we've constantly said. And I think, actually, that it's a great shame what happened to Tony Blair, because he had great promise at the start of his political career, and he allowed himself to be moulded by Alistair Campbell and others during the New Labour project. I've actually got a quote from here from Tony Blair, which is his maiden Commons speech when he first became an MP. He says, "I'm a socialist, not through reading a textbook that's caught my intellectual fancy, nor through unthinking tradition, but because I believe that, at its best, socialism corresponds most closely to an existence that is both rational and moral. It stands for cooperation, not confrontation, for fellowship, not fear. It stands for equality." Tone me, old son, where did it all go wrong, mate? You know, what a great government we could have had if you kept talking like this. I'd still be there. I'd be on the front line. I'd be knocking on people's doors trying to get Councillor Hussain elected, you know, tonight. But sadly, it all went wrong, and we're left with a situation where he's potentially, you know, he's got people calling for him to be tried as a war criminal, which I sadly have to support.
Shaista Akram says, obviously, Paul Brown has a problem with caste politics, not Asian people. But it's all coming out wrong. You've got a problem against the caste politics, the dodgy deals, the sort of jumping ship between other parties.
Honestly, I can't understand your viewers at all. How thick are they? I've told them, and I'll tell them again. I'm nothing. It's the way they do it. And I know it's like in Bradford. I'm councillor, that's entirely up to you. I don't know what it's like in Bradford. I'm going to talk about what I know and what I've seen here in Blackburn with Dawud.
Can we just expand that? You are saying that these 6 Liberal Democrat councillors who defected to the Labour Party, what reason did they tell you?
The reason they told them because
they're your colleagues, aren't they? You're still on the council.
They're not my colleagues now. I've just washed my hands with them.
No, but you're still in the council chamber. You see them.
Excuse me. We worked for them to get them in, right? And we worked damned hard to get them in, and we got them in Labour seats, right? And this is what's bugging me, that because of the family situation said, oh, no.
The clan politics.
Well, yes.
The clan.
And like I've said, I'll ask them to come here on this programme and sit with me and deny it.
Sounds like you got yourself another show to hold there, Mohammed.
Yeah, I think there is. I think we're looking forward to seeing if some of those candidates are coming in and Paul can give them a dressing down. We've got on the court, Shabir is in Bradford. Assalamu alaikum, Shabir.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yes, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Well, it was just, first of all, to congratulate Dawud Islam for doing a marvellous job and giving a view of respect. But also, if you remember, I was on the show.
I do. I recognise the voice. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I think I've been listening to the show on and off tonight, and it's been one of the situation of the chimney calling the pot black. In 2010, I wrote an article about clan-based politics and how I have a disdain for it. And there's been a session, I think tonight, made by some callers that I've been involved in some of that clan-based politics, which is far from the truth. The Labour Party, in its own internal workings, is supporting the Conservative candidate because he's a Chaudhry, and it's just the kettle calling the chimney black. It's absolutely absurd. I have a problem with power wherever it lies. Power where it's abused, and Tony Blair and the Labour Party, for the last God how many years, have abused power both in Bradford and nationally, and it needs to be get rid of. Power, when it's abused, is wrong. Full stop.
Thank you very much, Shabir. We will take our final break tonight and we'll come back and we'll carry on the debate. Stay tuned. Back to debate now with me, Mohammed Shafiq, live from our studios in Blackburn. Thank you for joining us. Our lines are still open, 01254 277 370, and on Twitter, Shafiq UK. Thank you, sir. So, Paul, I mean, what happens? I mean, I know we've looked at the local issues. You've upset some of our viewers by calling them thick, but this is politics. Nationally, what do you think is going to happen in the 2015 election?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I honestly think, I know we're going through difficult times, and I accept that. And I'm not a lover of the Conservatives, and people know that. But somebody had to take control and do something. And I think they are doing it. And it's hard, and it is hard, and make no mistake about it. But I think when it's finished, it'll be for the better for the United Kingdom when it does happen. And I agree that it's not before time that we had a 5-year service instead of saying, well, I think it's time we went to voters now because
looks like we can win.
I agree with that 5-year fixed term, and I think it'll be a good thing. And just to come back to my friend here over there from Bradford, we're saying about the cuts, what's happening, and yet, on the other hand, he's come out with a statement saying that since this by-election, that the council in Bradford has found a whacking big packet of money from somewhere to start doing something.
No, I didn't say that.
That's what you said.
No.
That's what you said earlier on, councillor.
No.
You said there's a big hole and it's going to be sorted out.
Yeah,
and you said something about a development.
You must have been sleeping through all the debate.
Money for that development. So don't say to me, that if your cuts are that bad from central government, where have you found this money from?
Well, I think...
Khadim, if you allow me, let me take a call. I'll come back to you, I promise. Mohammed is joining us on the phone. Good evening, Mohammed. Mohammed is in Keighley, I hope.
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Alaikum assalam at first. Well, I've just got a few issues regarding what you're talking of today, because apparently in Bradford, you're talking of George Galloway being elected. I'd like to actually specifically mention that I consider that maybe a blip in the cause of the three parties, but it's only an isolated case, in my opinion, and not a general case. And I say that because George Galloway appeals to the Muslim sentiment, and he did that in a very manipulative way. And one of the ways was to character assassinate Imran Hussain. Now, he specifically mentioned that Imran Hussain did not, drank, and, I don't want to obviously elaborate upon that. And he made many allegations against him that appeased to the Muslim sentiment. So that was an isolated incident. It was basically...
Mohammed, can I just stay on the lines? Please do stay on the line. I do want to carry on this conversation, but let me just put a question to you. Are you still there?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Let me put a question to you. Do you think it was right for Imran Hussain to refuse to do interviews with many of the ethnic minority media, including...
I'm not a supporter of Imran Hussain. What I'm trying to say here is that what you're trying to elaborate upon as to say that in Bradford it was a hit to the major parties. It was because what you had standing was a major MP against, I'd say a weak candidate. But that does not stand against Labour, and that has to be made, that has to be mentioned here today, because what you're essentially saying is Labour has taken a setback, and it's not, and you're mentioning it on economic issues and, basically political issues. It wasn't. It was basically a Muslim appeasement issue that George Galloway manipulated.
Okay, let's let Mohammed stay there. Mohammed, stay there. I'm going to stay there. We've got Dawud Islam, who's from the Respect Party. I mean, a very serious allegation that George Galloway manipulated his campaign to suit the Muslim voters.
This allegation has been constantly raised by the media as that George rode the back of a Muslim wave somehow to get elected, and that's simply not the case. The reason that George stood in Bradford West is that that's where the by-election was. He's been looking to get back...
Can I stop you there?
Mohammed, please.
Can I stop you there, please?
No, Mohammed, please, let Dawud finish, and I promise you I'll let you come back in. Go on, Dawud.
He stood in Bradford West. He's been looking to get back into politics since 2010, when he unsuccessfully tried to win another seat, having told the people of Bethnal Green and Bow that he would stand only one term. He's a politician of principle, so he moved to another seat, as he said he would, to try and get elected. He failed in that, and so the next opportunity that he had to get elected was at this by-election. People have said, why Bradford? Well, he could have gone down to Exeter and campaigned, but there wasn't an election on there, so they might have said, George, I really agree with what you're saying. Why didn't you go to Bradford? I hear they've got an election up there. You might win.
Can I respond to that, please?
Yeah, sure, Mohammed.
Well, what it is, I mean, Dawud Islam apparently is standing for the Green Party, and he stood against somewhat George Galloway, didn't he, during the by-election?
He did, yeah.
And what I can't understand from his perspective, I mean, he's singing George Galloway's praises, but you stood against him.
And, you know, why are you not with the Respect Party and the Green Party?